It's such a privilege and honor to welcome you to Magna Carta 2015, Global Empowerment Through Rule of Law. 50 years ago, then American Bar Association President, later United States Supreme Court Justice Lewis Powell had this to say: "In the final analysis, the only viable alternative to the rule of force is the rule of law." What do we mean by rule of law? We toss that phrase around with some ease, but there's really more to it than just a phrase. The World Justice Project has developed a definition that has been vetted and endorsed by leaders and scholars from over 100 countries. Rule of law encompasses four elements: the government and its officials and agents, as well as individuals and private entities, are accountable under the law. Number two, the laws are clear, publicized, stable, and just, are applied evenly, and protect fundamental rights, including the security of persons and property. Three, the process by which the laws are enacted, administered, and enforced is accessible, fair, and efficient. And four, justice is delivered by competent, ethical, and independent representatives and neutrals who are of sufficient number, have adequate resources, and reflect the makeup of the communities they serve. This year, the 800th anniversary of Magna Carta is a particularly important year to focus on the rule of law, because the foundation for rule of law can be found in Magna Carta. From the clashes between King John and the barons to the meeting on that watery meadow at Runnymede on June 15, 1215, there emerged the seeds of due process of law, trial by a jury of one's peers, and the principle that no person, not even a king, is above the law. Magna Carta's influence in the United States is powerful and indomitable. Its key provisions were incorporated in the charters of the original colonies and later in the state constitutions before being included for all time in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States. How fitting it is that we are gathered here at the National Archives, literally in the physical presence of a 1297 Magna Carta and those iconic American documents that have Magna Carta as their foundation. In the 20th century, we saw Magna Carta's protections and principles extended around the world. Following the destruction and atrocities of World War II, the global community strengthened its resolve to protect human rights. During that time, Magna Carta's influence was palpable. In her speech in December 1948, in support of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Human Rights Commission Chair Eleanor Roosevelt said, and I quote, "We stand here at the threshold of a great event, both in the life of the United Nations and in the life of mankind. This declaration may well become the international Magna Carta for all men everywhere." The Universal Declaration established that human rights should be protected by the rule of law. But with the exception of the European Convention on Human Rights in 1950, it was not until the 1960s that nations began to accept legally enforceable obligations to protect and enforce fundamental human rights through such charters as the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights in 1966, the International Convention on the Eradication of Discrimination Against Women in 1979, and the Convention Against Torture in 1984. Now it is our time, in our place, to build on this progress, to empower people around the world with greater participation in their own governance and to hold governments accountable. Ours is a fragile world. It takes our enduring effort to strengthen this ordered liberty, an ordered liberty built upon the foundation of Magna Carta. Our work today on economic development and transparency, women's empowerment, and climate and conflict are of vital importance. These discussions will prepare us and inspire us to move forward in our work with renewed vigor and deeper resolve. Thank you.